What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadski, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and today we're having a look at some Pirate Rumble action with the brand newly released One Piece Day, Luffy vs Kaido. We've just uploaded the video with Luffy, and now we're going to be looking at Kaido's side of things. So while Luffy was focusing on buffing the quick color, not really surprisingly, Kaido is going to be buffing DEX. Now, I do think DEX is currently one of the best colors in Rumble. They just have so many great options. So let's go ahead and discuss exactly what Kaido is providing to the team. And that's one of the things as well, is Kaido has never really had like amazing Rumble characters. The only one that's really comes to mind is the quick super type Kaido. He's always been good in Rumble, but basically every other Kaido legend that has come out has always fell short in Rumble. But I think finally we're getting a new character for Kaido in Rumble that is going to be very, very good and see lots of play. So his Rumble ability gives your DEX allies 6 HP, 6 speed, and 3 defense. If you're in the first 50 seconds of the game, he gives your entire team level 6 attack and level 3 defense, which is exactly the same as Luffy. And then in the final 50 seconds, he gives himself 8 attack, 8 defense, and level 5 special CT increase. So this is the exact same Rumble ability as Luffy, except that, you know, obviously he's boosting DEX instead of quick. So I think it's a great Rumble ability, no concerns at all. This is fantastic, really, really good effect. And then his Rumble special, which is also 32 CT, the exact same as Luffy, where it targets your DEX allies for 6 attack and level 3 special CT increase for 25 seconds. Again, the exact same as Luffy. But then, in the first 50 seconds of the game, or should I say, that the damage here is actually always happening. Targets 3 enemies with high HP for 1.2 damage, 2 times, ignoring defense. That always occurs. But then, if you're in the first 50 seconds of a game, he targets enemies in a large range for 60% chance of paralysis for 15 seconds. Paralysis is one of the worst like debuffs you can apply in Rumble. It just doesn't really matter that much, honestly. So that component kind of sucks. But if you're in the final 50 seconds of a match, he does 3 times damage in a large range. So this guy does way more damage than Luffy. Luffy doesn't have like additional damage like this. So Kaido does the damage through defense 2 separate times, to 3 enemies 2 separate times, and then he then applies 3 times damage if you're in the final 50 seconds of a game. So he can potentially do some crazy damage to the opponent. As for his resistances, he does evade force out mechanic as well as action bind, which is fantastic, and then damage reduction versus quick. As for the team composition that I have here, Big Mom is a fantastic character to run alongside the Kaido character. Big Mom is great because of the fact that we have powerhouse characters, and there's great synergy here between Big Mom and Kaido both being powerhouse. Big Mom provides a lot of damage, especially inflicting half stats, which can help you a lot when you, especially in the final 50 seconds of a game. Kaido doing that additional 3 times damage, and especially if they're inflicted with half stats, it's going to be very, very brutal for the opponent. And also Pell is like so good because, as I said, we are running a decent amount of powerhouse units. He gives special CT increase, which is great, and further attack buffs to those units. We're running Blackbeard because he's another good DEX powerhouse unit. You could potentially run like 6+ DEX Lucci. He's another good option too. I really wanted to run Ace though, because I really love Ace's abilities. He's got a great set of skills. He's got a fantastic Rumble special that does a crap load of damage. So this is a really impressive team that I've enjoyed a lot so far. So let's go ahead and showcase exactly what this team is capable of in some Rumble matches. So taking a look at our first match, we're not actually going to use DEX versus Quick as you would think. We're going to be going up against the PSY Gin fight. This one I actually hadn't beaten yet before this particular clip, and I thought, you know what, let's go ahead and give it a shot and see what happens. And despite the fact that the enemy does have Wano Law, which can severely debuff our powerhouse and driven characters, obviously noting Kaido, Big Mom, Blackbeard, and Pell all being powerhouse units, they get severely nerfed with the special CT reduction, so it's hard to launch their specials. But I felt like, you know what, let's go ahead and give it a shot. Let's throw it out there. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Not the end of the world. Luckily though, things actually went our way. Now I will say, it wasn't a convincing win, but it was a win nonetheless, and it really does come down to the wire. The fact that we weren't able to launch our specials fast was a huge deal though. So if you think about it, you know, if the enemy didn't have like Sanji on the opponent's side of the field, which if you guys don't know, he can also inflict defense down to opponents with his effect, and then you got NL consistently increasing their defense, and then they got Wano Law, which severely nerfs our special CT, and you're already seeing the first like 30 seconds of the fight, all our characters are nearly dead, and that's that's a really big issue. Yamato was big for them with the halving of stats, and you know, you see Ace coming in here and he actually does really good damage despite him being inflicted with half stats. So that just shows the power of Ace, and especially if you have him with max investments like at level 120 or even at level 150 in the future. Like, this guy's going to be a monster in Rumble. But hey, you know, by the time people get him to level 120, 150, you never know. Like, there's probably going to be a new best unit for DEX teams by that point. Kaido coming in here, inflicting the paralysis, which, as I said at the start of the video, paralysis is one of the worst debuffs you can apply to the opponent because it just doesn't do much. Like, yeah, it can severely nerf their normal attacks, but at the end of the day, it doesn't make that much of a difference. But you saw Big Mom, the power of Big Mom there, inflicting her half stats, doing damage, and knocking out 4 characters in one hit. Absolutely monumental, and definitely helped us win this game, putting the bench finally onto the front line so we can start taking out those characters. Got a little lucky though because those characters were lined up perfectly for Big Mom to go ahead and take them out. You see at this point though, Ace is out, he's dead, Pell is out, Blackbeard's out, so we're already down to our front line. Now things get a little crazy. 5v4, and you know, I do have Garp on the team. Garp is literally only here to trigger the additional effect of Ace. Ace has a Rumble ability that needs Garp, Luffy, or Sabo to be on the team in order to get his full effect, which is why he is here. But you see at this point, I was getting a little scared, things getting a little dicey, but things get really, really crazy towards the end as Kaido comes in and sweeps towards the end. So the final 2 clips of this video are actually going to be up against quick enemies. So we see here with our team versus the Blue Jam challenge. This is probably the most difficult quick challenge that you can go up against because it does have characters like Porchemi and Blue Jam. It is weird though because this is an older Rumble challenge, and you do see Kaido on the opponent's side of the field isn't super evolved. It would be nice if they retroactively went back and actually buffed some of these challenges with the actual super evolutions of the characters that are still on this team. Honestly, they probably should do that. But, you know, one of the cool things about this DEX team and why it is going to be so good against quick opponents is because all these characters have damage reduction versus quick enemies, which means that all the damage that they do to us, we tank, no issues at all. The only thing that can really do heavy damage to us is versus Akainu, because versus Akainu can obviously do a health cut. And you see Blackbeard, if Blackbeard is able to launch his special first like he does in this instance here, there is no hope for the opponent doing huge health cut, the fixed damage, the defense down, and by that point, like, they're just too squishy and they'll just die from normal hits, which is just wild. Also, massive shout out to Pirate Rumble Rare Recruit Pell. He's an absolute beast. Ever since he came out, he's been one of the best Rumble units in the game. Even in teams where he's not giving buffs to the squad, he's just very self-sufficient because his Rumble ability provides so many buffs to himself that he can just be put on any team and provide really solid damage to the squad. Moving on to the final challenge clip of the video is going to be against the newly released Hachan challenge, and this is a good one to show off. I think Hachan's a pretty interesting Rumble Rare recruit. Don't think he's the best at all, but he's just an interesting unit. You see other characters on the team such as Super Type Kaido with his Super Evolution this time, versus Akainu is still a problem, but also Cross Guild. Cross Guild is very frustrating to go up against because of the special reverse stuff that he can do, and that can really just nerf us because we want to be using our specials as fast as we possibly can, and that Cross Guild definitely nerfs our ability to do that. There's also Jinbei, but I don't think the newly released Memories of Straw Hats Jinbei is that good of a character in Pirate Rumble, so that's not really a character to worry about. The bench, though, for this team is pretty impressive. You've got Tesoro, which realistically should be on the front line. Also, Legend Smoothie, Rumble Smoothie, very good unit, synergizes well with Cross Guild for further special reverse stuff, and as well as Blue Jam, who is a great character to have on your quick Rumble teams for the halving of stats, and also does pretty solid damage by himself. But of course, with our tankiness that we have inherently with our squad, and the amount of damage output that this team has, specifically versus quick teams as well, this was really no issue at all. We weren't really in any threatening state. But that's gonna wrap it up for me. I think Kaido is gonna be a mainstay in DEX Rumble teams moving forward. I think he's a fantastic addition to these squads. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.